All right, so I think we could get started with like your backstory. So, like, what or who got you into Halo?
It started a long time ago, actually, with my brother. He's 29 now. I'm 26. Started all the way back when he was playing Halo 2, and I would watch him. I just always wanted to be like him and play whatever he did. So I would watch him play like Halo 2 campaign, and then it got to Halo 3. And I remember my first game was on Guardian, and we would just play like custom games, split screen. It got to the point where he just thought I was like screen watching. I probably was. I mean, we all have. Over time, he got mad because I would just be better than him, and then I just wanted to just keep playing, keep being better.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned that your first game was on Guardian because I remember my first game too. It was a team training. It was like October of '08 or something. It was team training on Snowbound. I'll never forget that. I don't know why. And my first Halo game was Team SWAT in Isolation. So, but it's cool to hear that your brother, kind of impacted you that way. I feel like that's kind of the story with a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like when you ask people, like, "Hey, how'd you get in Halo?" My brother, my dad, my sister, my whatever. I don't know. So
Yeah, I'm thankful that he did, because if he never gamed, I don't know where I'd be today. And it was a custom game too. I don't even remember my first matchmaking game. That's crazy. You remember? You said
yeah.
SWAT on Isolation. Wow.
No, so it was SWAT for Halo 2. It was Team SWAT
Oh,
on
SWAT.
Foundation,
Okay.
and then it
Oh,
was
okay.
on for Halo 3. It was Team Training Isolation, or not Isolation, Snowbound. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so then kind of like explain the alias, like why Tylenol, like how'd you get that?
Well, first that wasn't my first alias. My first alias was Alec, my first name. T, the beginning of my middle name, which is Tyler, and then I liked the Red Sox at the time. That
Right.
was my first alias, excuse me. And then in like 2010, I switched it to Tylenol, which was like a nickname when I was a kid because I couldn't say my R's. My dad would just say, "Yo, your middle name's Tylenol, not Tyler." So it just stuck. I don't know. It's a random story, but it just stuck. And then it kind of worked well over time with competing and stuff. It gave the commentator something to talk about.
At least it kind of has like a meaning to you. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, they might just like look for cool OGs. Like I'm sure you've known people to like,
Yeah.
change their alias a bunch because just
Yeah,
kind
it's
of like
just one
Preston, where
word.
it's like, yeah, like he's had like how many different aliases that he just goes by and now he's Preston. So, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, obviously you were pretty young, like when you got into Halo. So, how old were you when you first hit max rank in Halo 3? So level 50.
I think I was looking back before the Bungie stat page like shut down. You remember that when you could like
Yeah,
go
that was
back in
like
the
March of
games?
12.
Yeah, I checked. It was like it was either beginning of 2010 or end of '09. I forget, but it was Team Slayer.
Team
It's my
Slayer,
first
nice.
50. Yeah.
Nice. So, like, how many did you have on your main?
On my main, I had it in everything. I had 50s, and I think my last one I got was either SWAT or Lone Wolves, but
So, well, yeah, because
um
like there was six playlists that were like the base. So Lone Wolves, SWAT, Slayer,
Snipes,
MLG,
right?
Snipes. Yeah, the like other ones, like the rotational ones, like MLG,
No, no.
MFA. Okay.
No, definitely not. I mean, I played them because I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
I remember, wasn't there like it was like a legendary mythic brawl or something?
Yeah.
I
There was
forget, but
Legendary Brawl. There was Mythic Brawl. There was MLG, FFA. There was the Zombies one. I forget. There was Rank Rift Ball. There was like a bunch of playlists.
yeah, I mean, I played them. I thought they were really enjoyable, but I don't think there's no way I hit 50s in those.
So like you talk about how when you would play with your brother, you would kind of just you eventually got better than him, and over the course of time, it's kind of like obvious. Like the more you play, the better you're gonna get. But like, at what point in your like Halo career did you realize that you had like more raw talent than the people around you?
I think it started. I was like 11, and my mom told me there was like a Halo tournament in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and there was like a free for all section at the venue. There was like teams and stuff, but I didn't have any friends, like the gamed. I was really young. My
Right.
mom just took me, and it was like a free for all. I ended up winning it. I was like 11 or so at the time. I got like $100. It wasn't anything like special, but it meant a lot to me at the time. My mom had no idea what it was. She just took me because it made me happy. But I think after that, I really just enjoyed the feeling of gaming, like winning at something. So
Okay, so cool. Like you were about like 11 when you started to realize like, hey, like I'm kind of better than like a lot of people. And again, that was a local tournament. I mean, but online,
yeah.
were you like beating people that you look up to?
Not at that young, no.
No.
I more started off as like playing social, and I enjoyed that whole scenery of, clips, montages, just trying to go for multi kills. I like that whole FB Walshy for the win channel. I really looked up to a lot of those guys and
Yep.
how their videos were, getting on the main channel, it was like, oh, it was a big deal. Like I want to
Yeah, it
get on
was.
that.
Yeah, I mean, again, for anyone listening who doesn't know FB Walshy, FTW, and the backup channel, there was two of them. They pretty much that was like the central hub for montages, and if you were anyone in the Halo community, you had a video up there. And yeah, it was kind of just like a goal or an aspiration to have your content or your montage be recognized. And yeah, I know it sounds kind of dumb because like in 2024 you can just make it and upload it yourself on your own channel, but it's like back then that was kind of like the hub that you wanted to get on.
Yeah, I wanted to like get my name out in some sort of way with the montage kids. So if I knew if I got on there, and I had a guy named Trippin who I was friends with, and he really hooked it up and edited my gameplay. One of my montages got uploaded on there finally, and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, that was your final, right?
Yeah.
Given that so I'm just trying to like establish like a timeline. So about 11, you realize that you have like a gift. I know like when I first recognized you, I think you were playing like social a lot with like Shiny Little Apple, people like that. Which again, they did play ranked too, but I know a lot of them did play social.
Yeah, I was friends with like loving tryhards like Blaine. Yeah. Everybody knows this Blaine now. Like we were friends at the time, and we had like a similar friend group. So anybody that like really just enjoyed gaming for long periods of time, I would just play with them. Eventually, I had a friend at the time who I would just play with because we would just laugh. His name is Spinelli.
Yeah.
And we would just play like ranked together. And that was like my first. There's like a video of me playing like B11 out there. I forget. I think it's on Cold Storage.
See, that sounds familiar. I don't know if I've saw it, but it kind of does sound familiar. I mean, I know like I didn't match you a whole lot. Like I played mostly Slayer, like ranked Slayer, and if I did match you, I don't remember. It's been a long time, but I know my first memory of you was when I 1v1'd you. You probably don't even remember this, but I remember this because at the time I was like streaming a lot more and stuff, and I just remember I was like off stream one day in a chat and you like offered to 1v1 me, and I was like, okay, fuck it, cool. Like I think you were talking shit or something. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go fuck this kid up.
Yeah, I probably was. I was a piece of shit.
I go in there and I think you like 15-6 me or something. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I just got fucked. You know what I mean? So I try to get a rematch and then you're like, nah. But that was like my first introduction to you. And like, it's funny because when you started to blow up and you started to stream, that's when I'm like, oh shit, this kid's really fucking good. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of doubted you initially, but kind of did set yourself apart. So it's like, who or what like got you into streaming? Because like streaming is I mean, I guess it's like, it was like less of a niche thing when you got into it, but like, were you opposed to the idea of streaming, and like did you follow like the already established like Halo scene?
I kind of followed a lot of them. I always had a Twitch account. I wasn't all the way back on like Justin TV or whatever. But I did have a Twitch account, and I took a break from Halo for a while. Right. When like Fortnite came out, and I really enjoyed Fortnite, and I would stream that I don't know, just cause. Like I was on my Xbox, just stream it to my friends. So I already had like 100 followers, but it was like beginning of 2020, late 2019. I was hanging out with my buddy Deontay, aka everybody knows in the Halo 3 scene is Taylor, and he was like, "Bro, you should just do it. Like you're good. You could stream, and I'll be there." And he helped me set up like my panels and everything. And honestly, I don't think I would be where I am today without him. I got to give major props to him, and just like motivating me and telling me I should do it. Just be consistent. That's always what I told myself. Be consistent with streaming, and a lot of people will just appreciate it.
No, yeah, they do. I mean, because you got to think of it. It's kind of like a TV show. You know what I mean? Like if your favorite TV show comes on at 8 p.m. and they're playing shit at fucking 9 p.m., it's not really conducive to like long-term viewership or like trust with like the viewer. I feel like when you started streaming, it was just like, you just knew like, hey, I'm going to just like fucking pound this out for better or worse. And obviously things, like took off. So it's really cool to hear how Tay kind of like ignited that whole streaming process because yeah, I mean, I know everyone's kind of got a backstory to it. Everyone like kind of knows about Twitch and like they want to like blow up on it, but not everyone does, as you know.
Yeah.
What did your family think about streaming full time?
At first, they didn't really understand it. They're older. They had to that asked me a lot of questions, and that's cool. I'm happy to answer whatever. I think they really started believing when MCC had those like online tournaments, and I started playing in them and competing and trying to get my name out there, and then my viewership went up. I was living with them at the time. It's like 2020, 2021, and like we got word that like that 25K Xbox 2v2 was coming out.
Yep, I remember that.
And I told them I'm going to play in it, I'm going to win it, and I ended up winning it with Trippy. And I think right then and there they knew, like, okay, like as long as you're happy, you can make a living, just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's really important, just because like it's, you want to obviously like make sure, especially like as a parent, like from their perspective, like they want to make sure you're good and that you're doing
Right.
everything like the right way and you're not wasting your time or your life to because again, it's like, yeah, everyone wants to like be a fucking actor, or everyone wants to be a rapper, but it's like, how much are you really putting into it? Like how much effort are you really putting into it? And like is this going to have some type of tangible outcome? You know what I mean? Like yeah, because anyone could get lucky on YouTube, right? And, have a video go viral, or on TikTok, or, everyone, on Twitch, you could get gifted 500 subs, right? But that, if you're not getting gifted 500 subs every month, good luck.
Right.
So it takes, a village really to be a content creator. And it's just cool to hear that your parents obviously like supported you.
Yeah, you got to build that community. It's hard starting out. I didn't really have that mindset at first with, you say like have a village, like have a community.
Right.
I didn't really have a name for people in my community. And then I just start brainstorming and found, to call people in my community the hammies, which isn't just like, I have like all those like pig emotes, but it's like homies. Everybody in the community, I try to get everybody to get along, but you know how they are.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of degens.
I look at your stream kind of how I looked at like Dominator's stream, or like Innocent's stream, or like some of the older Halo streamers. I kind of look at you as like a centralized, like your stream is like a centralized hub. The Halo 3 community kind of goes and they live off of. It's kind of like a Vader with like Team Hardcore. It's like you're it for MCC, and there's a couple people like you. I mean, I know Uber Nick and like the real Spartan, people like that. They have like Nated could pull viewers, like, so there's other people who can do it, but it's just like a lot of things that, in my opinion, the Halo 3, especially the radar community, kind of runs through your channel, and you're just kind of like the centralized hub for MCC. So
yeah, I think a big part of my stream is definitely the ranked population, and my other goal is to grab like all those like social players and people who just play Halo casually to come and watch, because I mean that's what we all are at the end of the day, people that enjoy classic Halo.
Pretty much all of us started out as a casual Halo player, I think, in some aspect. I mean, no one just picked up the game and started using battle rifles and Gandhi hopping. It's like all those things take time to develop and manifest, and you get into Halo because you love it for whatever reason, and then you kind of eventually branch off in your own direction. Like that's that was the cool thing about Halo 3, was that you could put in Halo 3, and if you wanted to play snipers, you can just play snipers against competent people. And you want to play doubles, you can do that. MLG, you can do that. But I guess to like wrap up this section of it, like what advice do you have for people who want to get better?
I would say go out of your comfort zone with things. Don't be afraid to play against the best people. I know we will talk a lot about classic Halo on this channel, but when I did compete, I would just want to play against whoever was better than me, which was a lot, like majority of the HCS at the time, to try and learn and get better. So I would say to people that want to get better, or try even play in tournaments that I host, I think you should go out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to match people you don't think you'll necessarily win against all the time, because you can learn things and then eventually either get close to beating them, or be like, damn, like he actually wants to get better and show people that he wants to get better. And people will notice that over time.
Yeah, it's really, really good advice. I think of someone like Ryro, for example, who just came into the scene not very good, and kind of made himself like a more competent player. Again, he's taken games from like a lot of really good people, and he's played with and against good players now for a while, and I think that's really someone that you could kind of like look at and say, hey, this person just beat their head into a wall and they got better. And it's like, by sitting there and backing out of the playlist when Tylenol searching, like that's not really going to help you ever get to Tylenols. You know what I mean? It's like there's a quote. It's like, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And that's kind of what you're saying is like, don't back down, get out of your comfort zone, and just yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I found Ryro actually. I don't know if it was Team Slayer or what, but I know people meme him a lot, and that's just how the community is sometimes. But you got to give credit where credit's due, where people actually like want to get better and show that, and are passionate whenever they beat good players that are better than them. You gotta, I don't know, I appreciate that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I always like playing with Ryro.
All right, so kind of shifting focus, going pro, right? So, what or who made you want to compete in Halo professionally?
I would say a big motivator was definitely Trippy. When we were I remember it was COVID lockdown where, I mean, all the boys were getting back on MCC, like even Dominator.
Yeah, he came back for a bit.
And everyone was like, whoa, Dom's back and stuff. Honestly, I wasn't surprised. Like we're in lockdown. Like, what else are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like,
nothing.
We're just gaming till, I mean, I'll say it right now, I was gaming till like 7 a.m. I don't care. Like,
lockdown was honestly, like, I know it caused the world great suffering and, COVID, all those things, but it was really cool for gaming. It definitely, gave us a lot of really good memories.
Yeah, it was cool for gaming. It was cool for, a lot of my friendships. And during that time, I remember I was playing with Trippy a lot. And like I said earlier, I got word of the 25K tournament happening. Infinite was on the horizon. He was like really motivating me, like, keep playing, keep getting better. He's like, we're going to win this tournament and that's going to help you so much. Just watch. And we ended up winning, and it did help me a lot. And I can say now, like, he's definitely one of the reasons where I am today. And he's one of my best friends because of it.
I definitely think that you winning those tourneys, it did help you. But do you think that's the only reason why you got the spot on the team that you did?
That's a good question, Tom. I don't think it's the only reason. I think it helped me out a lot because winning that, it was broadcasted on the Xbox channel.
Right.
People were looking, no one really knew who was going to be good at the new game. There was word that mouse and keyboard was going to be big.
Right.
Everyone was excited. We didn't know who was going to be good. So I was just trying to do anything to put my name out there. Like Twitch Rivals came out too. Yep. Thank God I got invited to play in that, and we won that. So that was great too. But I would say definitely like competing in that 2v2 definitely helped me out a lot.
What are some of like the challenges of going pro that the average player isn't really privy to? Like, is there like a lot of politics involved, or?
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of politics, a lot of, I was shifting a lot of my time from getting in that mindset of, all right, I'm going to stream every day, to you have to practice and then scrim and then VOD review. And then do you even want to stream? And when I was on Space Station, we didn't really want to stream scrims because it was just time where we wanted to take for ourselves and just try to learn to be better. So it was definitely a shift for me in terms of, little less content creation and a little more focus on competing and trying to be a better competitor.
Yeah. So pretty much time management is kind of what you're alluding to.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And again, we'll talk about this coming up here, but when streaming is kind of like your, primary source of income, it's tough when you don't want to stream because you're doing so much gameplay in the background. So I could definitely see how that could, kind of wear you out too, just the schedule aspect.
And I didn't want to give my viewers that sense of I was abandoning them, but in a way I was. I didn't stream for 2 weeks at a time, which was irregular to what I used to do, especially during COVID times. I'd be live for maybe more than 12 hours a day, and then sometimes be doing the 24-hour streams. I felt bad.
It's really funny because I've had discussions with people in previous PodKosts about social versus ranked gameplay, and it's really, really funny and ironic how you started off in the social scene, right? And you're clipping noobs and fucking Christmas noobs, right? You go from that to literally being one of the all-out best players on MCC, and of course going pro and infinite. What is the difference between LAN and online play to you? Is it easier to perform in the finals of a tournament that's online in front of 500 people versus IRL?
I would say definitely LAN is way harder in terms of competing because you got people around you, you got the people you're playing against right in front of you. Especially people start talking shit, you're talking shit, you're just it's more competitive out there. Yeah, that's not to say that online isn't easy, but I would say, of course, when you're at an event, that's definitely where things matter. But online tournaments, that's all we had though. especially for like COVID times and right
Right.
before Infinite. So
I mean, I just got to imagine though, like, if you're playing an online tournament and you're in the grand finals and,
right,
it's a close game and you have people watching you and that, on like when it's easier to play off stream than
yeah,
on stream, right? And so
right, yeah,
it's, you're streaming, you have a really good computer, so it's not using a ton of, and plus you have a dual PC setup, so it's like,
mhm.
your gaming rig isn't really being impacted by anything. Sometimes you choke. Sometimes it's difficult to just perform in front of people because like every decision you make is being like psychoanalyzed.
Back when I played on a lot of those online tournaments, whether it was the HCS MCC series, I was definitely more nervous then as well. Because that was like the first like 4v4 tournament I started playing, and it was like me, Preston, Flays, and then deciding, just trying to, you
I
know,
do remember that.
play
Yeah.
play the best of the best and trying to make a name for ourselves. I was definitely nervous then. I mean, yeah, I was getting nervous all the time, but I mean that
Yeah.
I love that feeling. You gotta pull it through. You gotta win the game,
Right. It's
no
sink or
matter what's
swim.
happening.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta take that shot. You talk about like winnings, right? Is it financially feasible to compete professionally in a game like Halo? And like how high do you need to place to even like earn a reasonable or like respectable living?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself with that. Beginning of Infinite, things were great. There was a lot of orcs in the scene, but now I can only count on like my fingers how many are left. And you got to think to yourself, is that going to be financially stable for you? I don't know. I can't speak for myself with with what some of them are getting paid, but
Right.
it's not that I didn't want to compete anymore. It just wasn't. I needed to be selfish for me, and I think it was just at that point where I was just like, I'm gonna make that shift back to content creation. I couldn't really stick on. I had a couple tryouts. I don't know if it was like 2022 or 2023, but they just went the opposite way of who they wanted to pick up,
Right.
and that's cool. I mean, some people don't mesh with others. But at that time where I was just like, I'm gonna go back to streaming, I'm gonna go back to what I started with. Yeah, I mean, if you're not winning like those tournaments or placing big on land, then I really don't know what there is, because making content on Halo is hard. Making content on Infinite is harder.
Orgs are pulling out. There's just no money left in the game, and again, you're having to go back to MCC because the game that they spent $500 million on and 6 years to make is just not adequate. So that sucks. But getting into like some of the more technical stuff, do you believe that pro players actually even like the game?
I think pro players, and I can speak for myself when I was a pro, you want the game to do so well that you make yourself believe that the game is good. I tried to make myself believe that the game was good, but if you think about it all the way going back to like season 1 of Infinite, our games were crashing on the main stage multiple times. Like stuff like that pros can't stand. Like we can't stand the resets. Like we just want a game to go through the whole duration of the game with no issues. Like how hard is that? In my opinion, I think a lot of the pros aren't happy playing it anymore. I mean, what's there to be happy about?
Yeah,
And
I mean,
like an
I've
update every now and then. Like I can't really speak for them, but from what I'm seeing, I just don't think a lot of them are happy.
yeah, it's just a really tough environment for Halo right now. I mean, it's obviously been tough for a while, and I could go into why it's been tough. I mean, we could talk about there's been a lot of structural changes at 343, so hopefully that's all good and part of the process. But it's kind of disheartening to hear that the people who are like being paid to play just don't like the game. And I'm sure like every game has those people who just like, hey, I'm good at this game, this is my job.
Right.
Not everyone likes their job, I get that, but most of the time you would think that if you're getting paid to play a game, it's because you love the game. Sounds like that's not the case. All right, so moving on to content creation. Outside of the financial reasons, like what reasons did you have to step down from competing and switch over to content creation?
Other than the financial standpoint, I think the level of enjoyment of the game was just at an all-time low for me. I wasn't happy. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of things daily you have to worry about. Is the game going to work? Am I going to crash? There's just so much I didn't enjoy anymore about the game, and I just missed streaming. I missed the feeling of it. A lot of people, when I was streaming, they messaged me saying they look forward to this time of day. Like that was the stuff that made me love streaming, excuse me. And I just missed that feeling. So I wanted to go back to it. I would say I think I did about like a year and a half ago now. And ever since it's just been great. Obviously some months in terms of what to do on the game are better than others, in terms
Right.
of what's going on with the different cheats that are being shown. But other than that, it's been great.
All right, so on YouTube, you've been doing pretty like well view wise. What would you say your favorite YouTube video is?
Any of the, I don't think I have like a specific one, but any of the Twitch highlights, Slim does them for me. So I just love his whole, his whole ideas that he does, and I just love watching him on stream too, reacting with the chat. I like a lot of the gameplays too. Any of the ones from, I just uploaded one from the BNB with Jobless. Any of those to give those type of viewers a idea of what I stream and the type of people I play with. I just love doing.
Yeah, not for sure. I mean, dude, those are really good videos. I love the Cousin video, obviously.
The Cousin movie has a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Z Dave made that.
Hmm.
But yeah, Slim, he does amazing work. Very creative, and even on Slim's own personal channel, he's got some really good content on there. So yeah, definitely love those. What would you say that like is your favorite tournament win? It could be on LAN, it could be a draft, it could be just a regular online one.
Well, I'll give you two.
Okay.
Obviously, in terms of the drafts, I really liked the multi-team one. That
Mhm.
was that was a blast from the past in terms of my childhood, because that was the playlist I had the most amount of XP on.
That was really fun though.
I grinded that, and it was a lot of those game types. You didn't have to be like the best player in the world to win that tournament. So I enjoyed it, and it was fun. In terms of more sweaty tournaments, I would say the 25K Halo 3, but I'm gonna say the 25K Halo Infinite 2v2 that Trippy and I won. That was definitely, everybody was trying so hard. The competition was even higher. So, and it was a different game. It wasn't Halo 3, the game I've been playing my whole life. It was Infinite. It was new to everybody. And the fact that we won that was just, it felt really good.
What was your favorite draft tourney win outside of the multi-team one?
I gotta think about that. Maybe the team snipers one that you were on my team with, that was a lot of fun. If we have a team that just, cracking up the whole time,
We won two of them.
was there two? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we did. We went back. Okay, the first one with, it was me, you, Colin, or was that the second? No, it was me, you, Colin, and Cubs. Was that the first?
Yeah, that was the first one. That was when
Yeah,
Colin
that
had the
one-
big game on assembly and he was sitting
Yeah.
top rockets and yeah, he was doing his thing.
Yeah, Colin was definitely, he was definitely, cracking me up that whole tournament, and the vibes were hilarious. So
That was
I
great.
could always go back and rewatch that one and laugh about
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah, no doubt. The current state of MCC and Infinite, I guess we could start with the state of MCC. So as like a full-time content creator, I mean, how hard is it right now to create content from CC? Like it's,
I'll say right now it is probably the hardest it's ever been in terms of.
can you go into depth about some of the things that are happening right now?
Okay, well, a lot of my content, which a lot of people know, is based off of ranked and the ranked population and finding games and trying to compete against each other, and I can't do that because I get banned by the cheaters.
So how are they banning you, by the way? Just for the audience, just to be very clear, like, are they like, do they have like a ban tool where they can just fucking hit a button and you're banned, or like, what are they doing?
They change their gamer tag to yours, and then they'll go into a matchmaking game and quit out, and it counts as whatever account that you're on. So I've been trying to play on my main account, and I can't because they'll change their name to mine. They have a way to do it, and they'll just quit out. The first ban, I think, is 5 minutes. The second's like 15, and then third's like an hour. So once they hit me with the first ban, I'll just wait, and I'll see, if they're gonna be cool. If they're not, then I'll just like switch to a main account. And it's hard. I mean, for anybody that's watching Mint Blitz's recent video, like, he talks about like streamers having to make pretty much barcodes out of their gamer tags, and that's what I have to do to try to play ranked. Now I don't even play ranked. I just play social because the cheaters have a way to, if they match you in the game, they can just get you banned that way. That's another obstacle I've had to face, and it's really frustrating.
And this is
It's
a big
very
deal
frustrating.
for a lot of reasons. And, this actually extends much further beyond just Tylenol, his stream or whatever, because this is just ranked in general now. It's pretty much unplayable. And Tylenol, like I was saying before, he's kind of like the central hub for MCC. And it's like, it kind of all runs through his stream, like especially like the competitive radar scene runs through his stream. So it's like us trying to do anything grassroots, like host our draft tournaments, or Tylenol just trying to play the game, essentially being harassed. Like, this is kind of like the next level DDoSing, where it's like it's like targeted harassment, and no one's really doing anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, they've ruined my streams countless times. They'll even try to bribe me and say, "Hey, send me money and we'll stop." But I know they won't stop even
No.
if I send them whatever. They'll just keep going. So
Right.
some days are better than others in terms of, are they coming for you or not? They think they're all evil villains, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and the sad part is, I'm sure a lot of them really aren't bad people. It's just they're making bad choices right now in their life, and they should be punished for it. So hopefully, we talked about this a little bit off stream, but hopefully this is getting dealt with, in a reasonable manner, and in a timely manner, of course, because again, your income depends on this, and the happiness of the people who watch you really depend on this too, because if you can't stream this game, then you're going to eventually go to Fortnite, and if you ever take off in a different game, then you're going to be that could be it for Halo. So I think that people are really this should be taken more seriously, just because you're pushing people away from the game. People can't create content for this game, and they're harassing you, but like, I mean, eventually you can just say, fuck it, and just get a job, and then you know what I mean, and then like you're the next Campy basically, and it's like, well, and people could do that, and people do that, so it's like, it's really tough, and I'm really hopeful that we can get this resolved in the immediate future. But
I think a lot of their anger, Tom, kind of like stems from their hate with what the state of Halo, and I think they're just going about it the wrong way.
do you actually think that 343 Industries cares about MCC?
I think they do. I think they're just out of resources, to be honest, from what I've seen. I don't know if they don't have anyone working there. Some months it's hard to like care, because some months, like, let's just have an example of the ranked playlist, team doubles, for example. Every month on a specific day, it's supposed to be Halo 3, and then next month it's supposed to change to Halo 3 hardcore doubles. Some month it won't change, some month it will. Some month you'll get one for 1 week and then it changes. How is that happening? Who's in charge of that? It's hard to say, they care when stuff like that isn't even
right. It's like the tiny little minute details. Yeah. Like, I remember years ago, like, I've made plenty of videos on 343, and just launching like a game patch with like the incorrect game types, like stuff like that is highly unacceptable. It kind of like negates like any type of QA testing or any type of like plausible, you know what I mean? Like, just companies should have like fail safes and checks and balances, and I just feel like 343 was kind of just winging it. I feel like it's a couple dudes in like an office who maybe just graduated from college, and they're just kind of like pushing buttons, and things break, and I mean, there's just been so many issues for so long with MCC, and I feel for you, honestly. Like, I don't really have that itch to stream anymore, like I used to, but it's I don't even want to play the game. Like, I don't really even play a lot unless like, you're streaming and me and OG are trying to match you or something, or it's like, a tournament. Like, we're not really even, I don't even really enjoy getting on, because I feel like if I play, I'm just going to get cheated. And it's like, you don't even know who's cheating. Like, everyone calls everyone a cheater, because again, PC, I mean, you can do incredible things on PC, and, sometimes it can look like someone's cheating and they're not. And sometimes they are, and that's kind of like the fucked up part, is like, you could be playing some guy, he could be making all the right plays, but he could also be walling, and you don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just that level of panic that's been around the MCC community for a while now. Is this guy cheating? He isn't cheating. He is. I mean, is there a way to know? And then that just causes more drama. And then eventually, like the other day, I just know this guy's cheating. We use the term rage cheating. He's losing the game, and then I'll just start flying. And then boom, 5 minutes later, my account's banned because he's mad. Like, oh, I'm the bad guy now because I called you out on cheating.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard.
This kind of segues me into my next point too, which I am a big fan of like some of the older Call of Duty games, like MW2, Call of Duty 4. A lot of those games are kind of uninhabitable now. And do you believe that like legacy games that are still kept on Steam and being sold on Steam, like MCC, do you believe that the developers should support those games at the bare minimum, like with like a form of like an anti-cheat?
100%. I think especially from where we're going now and the amount of cheats that are happening, I think a lot of the players are scared that something is going to happen, while they're gaming. who is selling that product should be held responsible for that. Like, they're selling this game on Steam, like you're saying,
Yep.
and we can't even hop on the game without being cheated. The cheats now, they make your gun fire on their own. It's insane. I've never seen anything like it. Not even in the Call of Duty games. Like, I'd never seen something so ridiculous.
No.
And I think they came out with like one response about it, but it's just like, is gonna happen. Like, what's gonna give? Like, I just want something to work. Like,
yeah, and like my biggest frustration is like, and I don't know if they still do this, but when people tweet at them and say, hey man, here's an issue with the game, like this guy is cheating, or this guy is saying racial slurs, or this guy is doing this, they don't ban them. You know what I mean? They just say, like, submit a ticket. We take this very seriously. Please submit a ticket. But it's like, if some guy is flying around and aimbotting you and changing his gamer tag to racial slurs, or he's, targeting you on your stream and trying to extort you for money, these are all crimes that if you really wanted to, you could probably like press charges. But people probably don't remember this, but people were like, when you were like living with your parents, people were like sending stuff to your house. You would think 343 would take this a little more serious than they actually are, because, it's affecting a lot of people, and they're so quick to like get mad at other so again, like Halo 2 Vista, what was that one game, Halo Online? They sent them a fucking cease and desist. But like, so you're gonna take down Halo Online, but you're not gonna send like a fucking cease and desist to the people selling cheats and not go after those, but you'll take down a Russian version of Halo or whatever because you're mad that they're doing it better than you, or they're actually updating their game. But you don't want to send a cease and desist or go after the people who are like literally causing you like to lose your income, to, like, whether or not they give a fuck about you. I don't really know. In my opinion, 343 doesn't like you very much. That shouldn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, they have a responsibility to the game, to the community, to fix it. And they have like this easy anti-cheat, which doesn't do shit. And they should honestly, I mean, shit, if 343 can't fix it, then talk to Easy Anti-Cheat. Figure it out. Moving on to like Halo Infinite. I mean, what, if anything, do you feel like could make Infinite a more playable game? Like, is there a chance that Tylenol goes back to Infinite? And like, if that does or did happen, like, what would it take?
I don't think I would ever go back in terms of competing. I went back and played for like a 2 to 3 week period, just solely because the cheats on MCC were getting to be too much, and I wanted, a different game to play where I didn't have to go online every day and worry about certain variables that a streamer shouldn't worry about. So I just went on Infinite, did a quick little series with Kazan about, helping him reach max rank or max ranked for the ranked
Onyx,
playlist,
yeah.
Onyx, yeah. And it was fun, but it would take, I think I would go back if Halo did what they should have and released like a battle royale. I would go back and play that because that was fun. I mean, a lot of the pros would talk about it. We would all talk about competing in that, what it would be like to just drop in from a Spartan pod. You'd spawn in with like a pistol and then you have to find armor. I think that'd be cool on like bigger maps. Like, let's say one POI could be like Narrows, one POI could be a certain other map. I just thought it would be cool to have that, and it's unfortunate they didn't go in that direction, but who knows, maybe in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for a long time, I never really wanted a battle royale in Halo, but at the end of the day, I think we're at a point in Halo where you need to just try anything to set yourself apart. Right now, Halo's in a really, really bad spot, like population-wise, and just interest in Halo is at an all-time low, I feel like. It's anything that you can do to reinvigorate and try and get more people over to Halo would probably be a good thing. All right, so in terms of what's next for Tylenol, you have any like different plugs or shout outs or anything?
In terms of what's next, I think gonna keep streaming, doing these monthly tournaments, these draft tournaments to help get the community more involved. My end goal, though, that you and I spoke about off stream, was to create like a Halo MCC league that deals with classic Halo, and to have these scheduled tournaments ahead of time. Yep. Funding. I love classic Halo. I think it'll always be a thing in terms of competing in something bigger than just, searching social with some friends. Is competing in something that's fun. I think there's a big population for it still, whether people like to believe it or not, and just people that still enjoy the game.
A lot of the people who participate are, I'd say most people are like a little older, like probably early 20s is probably like the youngest, but most people are probably like late 20s, maybe, even early. I mean, I'm 32 and I still play in those. So it's like, I feel like people do care, and I feel like people would, use their PTO at work if they are employed, or if they're in school, or just making like time in their schedule to play. I feel like people will do that for the right people who host, and also just because they love classic Halo, like all of us do.
Other than what I went into with the tournaments, you and I went into a different podcast themed around classic Halo even more. We're going to call it the Halo Rewind. Tom and I are still in discussion about if we're going to do it live on Twitch, pre-recorded on YouTube with guests. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that. I think it's going to be really exciting. Getting old pros, new pros, different voices for Halo, people that genuinely care for the success of the game. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. We're just going to be talking about everything Halo.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow, again, all the Tylenol links. So youtube.com/@Tylenol, twitch.tv/Tylenol, x.com/Tylenol, x.com/TommyKosT. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and or YouTube. It doesn't matter, but ideally all of it. Yeah, man, more info coming soon about the Halo Rewind, but that's going to be really fun. Obviously, make sure you follow guys, twitch.tv/Tylenol. He does stream pretty much every day, but he kind of lets you know on his Discord, so join his Discord too, and he'll let you know when he streams.